We've all heard it a million times, right? The early bird gets the worm. It's held up as this gold standard of discipline and success. But what if that's only half the story? What if some of the best, most complex thinking doesn't actually happen at dawn, but, well, long after everyone else has gone to bed?
Okay, let's just start with this quote, because it really gets to the core of what we're talking about. This one idea completely challenges a huge societal assumption. It suggests that there's a really powerful reason some of us just come alive in the quiet hours of the night.
And that's the big question we're going to unpack today. This isn't just about being a morning person or a night person. Turns out there are some deep psychological reasons at play that make the night the perfect workshop for the mind. So let's get into it.
First things first, we have to tackle the big one, the stigma. If you're a night owl, I'm willing to bet you've been on the receiving end of some pretty unfair judgments about your habits.
This is the #1 misconception, right? The idea that burning the midnight oil is some kind of character flaw, a failure of willpower. But as we're about to see, psychology tells a completely different and frankly much more empowering story.
And this just lays it all out so perfectly. On one side you have the myth, the label society throws around, lazy, undisciplined, bad habit. But then you look at the reality from a psychological perspective, and it's something way more strategic. We're talking about deep processing, protective withdrawal, and a deliberate move to control your environment so you can actually think.
So let's move past debunking the myth and actually get into the science. Why does the brain, especially one that's wired for deep creative thinking, actively seek out the nighttime? It might be why so many brilliant thinkers, from Churchill to Kafka, did their best work while the rest of the world was fast asleep. And it really boils down to a few key ideas. First, you have to understand the enemy of deep thought, and it's this thing called sensory load. Think of your brain's focus like a computer's RAM. Every single notification, every, hey, got a quick question, all the background noise, each one of those things eats up a little bit of your processing power, leaving you with less and less for the stuff that really matters. And this is what you need all that mental energy for. Deep processing mode. That's the zone, the flow state where you can finally connect the dots, solve really tough problems, and have those incredible aha moments. But it's almost impossible to get there when your brain is being bombarded by the high sensory load of the day.
And here's where it gets really cool. When you can finally get into that deep processing state, you unlock this next level, metacognition. This is where the real breakthroughs happen. It's not just about solving the problem. It's about understanding how you think about the problem and using that self-awareness to come up with truly original ideas.
Okay, so this brings us to the environment itself. If the daytime is like trying to work in a chaotic, noisy factory, then the night is like a clean, quiet, perfectly organized laboratory built for exactly this kind of deep work. Just think about a normal day. It's a nonstop assault on your focus. Your phone is buzzing with constant notifications, people are stopping by for unplanned chats, your mind is trying to juggle a dozen different priorities, all of it happening with this constant hum of background noise. It's pure cognitive chaos. And then the night comes. The emails stop, the phone goes quiet, the world just falls away. And what are you left with? Silence. And that's not just an absence of noise, it's the presence of an incredible opportunity.
And that's the whole connection right there. That silence, that massive drop in sensory load, is precisely the runway your brain needs to finally shift gears. It allows you to drop into that state of deep processing and fire up the metacognition that leads to your best thinking.
All right, let's bring this all together now, and let's completely reframe this whole conversation. Because this isn't about being lazy or undisciplined. It's about being strategic. It's about understanding how your own brain works and creating the perfect conditions for it to do its best work.
I absolutely love this quote because it gives a name to what's happening. Protective withdrawal. You're not just staying up late, you are actively protecting your most valuable resource, your focus, by withdrawing from the chaos of the day to a time and a place where you can actually use it. Seriously, let that sink in for a minute. Think of all those times you might have felt guilty for staying up, or every time someone called you lazy for your sleep schedule. They were missing the entire point. You are not undisciplined. You are being an architect of your own intelligence. You're building this nocturnal workshop, carefully creating an environment of silence and focus. Because you know, maybe even intuitively, that it's where your best ideas come to life. That's not a flaw. It's a deliberate and incredibly intelligent strategy.
So, the next time the world goes to sleep and you feel your mind starting to wake up,
Don't fight it. Lean into it. The question isn't, why are you staying up so late? The real question is, what incredible ideas, what amazing solutions, what brilliant insights are just waiting there for you in the quiet?